Paige, she has the new data just in.
Yeah, good news is a lot of the precipitation has come to a close. There's a small window. We could still see a little bit of light snow in some parts of our area overnight tonight. But for the most part, it's just really what we're watching for is any of the moisture that fell earlier today. If it's not been a well-treated road throughout the course of the afternoon and evening, things are going to refreeze as we head into the overnight. And I'm mostly concerned with just some slick spots that you may run into. Is that necessarily going to be on our well-traveled roads? Probably not, because a lot of our road crews have been able to put down a brine that kind of helps keep things a little bit more melted for us, and that's good news. But less travel, of course, well, then you're going to always run into a little bit more of that refreezing issue through the early morning hours. So winter weather advisory was lifted for several of our counties, still in effect though for Lake Geauga, Ashtabula through 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Again, for slick travel and the potential that you get some minor snowfall accumulation as you head into the overnight tonight. Live look from our Stark State camera. So this is down towards the Akron area. You can see travel moving pretty quickly, especially on most of our major roadways, but you can kind of tell things look a little bit hazy out there. We've seen a little bit more of this moisture that fell earlier today, just trapped under all these clouds that we've had across the area. And so it is dropping visibility in spots, not anything like dense fog or things like that, but you just may notice some of those lower clouds kind of sticking around with us until this system can clear a little farther off towards the east. But Northeast Ohio, we're quiet right now. We're just waiting to see if this batch of snow to our north can develop just a little farther south. And if it can, that's what gives you that better opportunity across our primary snow belt for potentially seeing a little bit of that light system snow on the backside of this system. But Doppler radar is quiet right now. I really don't anticipate too many issues here, at least over the next couple of hours. This will likely be an overnight thing and really clearing out by the time most of us are getting up early on your Sunday. Temperatures right now sit mid to upper 20s to low 30s. New Philly finally climbing back above freezing at this point. You're at 33 degrees. Basically, your overnight lows not going to vary a whole lot from where we're sitting right now. And it's because we still have that cloud cover out there. It's going to keep that temperature pretty steady headed into the early part of tomorrow. We're also not going to see a huge jump in our temperature though either. So once we kind of wake up into that mid to upper 20-degree range, we may only gain a few degrees kind of as we head through that early part of the afternoon. That bump in temperature helpful if we can get a little bit of sunshine in here. I think we can, just because we're working in some drier air and a relatively quieter pattern headed into Monday. But again, it's all going to depend on how quickly those clouds can clear out. We'll walk you through how active this upcoming work week will be coming up in just a few minutes. To be the case, especially if those surfaces are untreated. So think side streets, things like that, your driveway, any sidewalks that may be in your neighborhood, those are still going to be icy tonight headed into tomorrow morning. Now, the main roads, like what you're seeing in terms of interstates, major state highways, things like that, those have been treated. So a lot of those may be okay by the time we get into early tomorrow morning, but I would still just budget a little bit of extra time to get where you need to be, just because you may run into still a little bit of that black ice first thing. On top of which, we're going to be dealing with likely still a little bit of light snow trying to roll through during the overnight hours. That will mainly be into our primary snow belt. I'm not expecting much in the way of accumulation out of this, but just know a few more flurries are possible, at least a light dusting. And so you're going to have, again, more conditions that make things a little slick out there. And that's why we still have those winter weather advisories in effect for Lake, Geauga, and Ashtabula counties headed into tomorrow morning. So this will be allowed to expire by 7 a.m., if not sooner, depending on how some of the data shakes out here over the next couple of hours. You'll see where we have some of that blue contour. It's not much in the way of snowfall. I really think a lot of us are likely going to stay below an inch of snow, but again, it all depends on how much farther that system can build down to the south. Live look over downtown Cleveland this evening. You can just tell those clouds are hanging a little bit lower in our atmosphere. We've got so much moisture that moved through the area earlier today, and it's stuck underneath a lot of that cloud cover. So really, until those clouds can clear out of here, which doesn't really look to happen until we get into tomorrow, we're likely going to be still dealing with some of those low clouds, maybe at times some reduced visibility, but nothing like dense fog or anything like that. This is the system passing us by to the north. We'll see if it can backbuild a little farther to the south. If it can't, then pretty much at this point our snow chance is over, but I still think it's a couple hours before we have that better opportunity east of Cleveland to see any additional snowflakes. You'll see temperatures pretty chilly as we kind of wake up tomorrow morning. We're staying into the mid to upper 20s and not really getting a huge boost in that temperature even as we go through the day tomorrow. At best, we're keeping daytime highs near 30 degrees, which is still well below average for where we should be for this time of the year. So basically, from start to finish, you may gain a couple of degrees. That's about it. I still think mainly cloudy skies, but we should see a few peaks of sunshine mixing in. And that eventually is as drier air starts to build in and high pressure takes over, finally giving us a little bit of a break from what's been such an active winter so far. Monday, Tuesday, and again, Tuesday's the difference. If you've been tuning into the forecast the last couple of days, we're taking away that snow chance. While the snow chance may not necessarily be zero, I think it is extremely low because drier air is going to be in place. Now, that's not the case once we get into Wednesday. Wednesday's system has moved a little farther to the north with a lot of that newer data, so it opens up the door for warmer temperatures for us. It also means we're likely going to be dealing with a bit of a wintry mix. So some icy concerns not off the table Wednesday, headed into early Thursday morning before then temperatures start crashing. So likely Thursday's daytime high will be reached first thing in the morning, and then that temperature just continues to fall as we go through the day. You'll see Valentine's Day a little bit cooler. Temperatures only expected into the lower 20s, but I will say if we're going to find a positive here, Valentine's Day actually brings us over at Cleveland Hopkins officially our first 6 p.m. sunset of 2025. It's the little things this time of the year. Temperatures the next couple of days, again, not a huge variation, upper 20s to about lower 30s. You see that little bit of a roller coaster late week. I do think we're going to stay pretty active even headed into next weekend with another wintry system. So watching for some ice, potentially then snow on the backside next Sunday. So some things we'll have to keep an eye on over the next several days.